I ended up pooping in their backyard, and their dog ate my shit after. Today in B-Town Reddit stories. Parents of Reddit, what is the weirdest or creepiest thing you found out about your child, but you never will tell them that you found out? My younger brother, when he was about 3, started this game where he'd pretend his D was a machine gun. So like, you could just be wandering around the house and he'd run up to you, completely naked, screaming, with his D in one hand, making machine gun noises. I went into my 6-year-old son's room around 10 o'clock at night when he was supposed to be asleep because I could see from the hallway that he was using a flashlight. Turns out he was naked from the waist down and had stretched the skin of his scrotum taut and was shining the flashlight through the skin of his scrotum to make his room glow a soft red color. My mom told me a story that I once casually strolled into her ladies' night gathering carrying a box of tampons and handed them out as welcome gifts. I was 5, had no idea what tampons were for, and a male. It was a different brand that she used. Reply. When I was younger, I found my mom's tampons and thought they were bulbs. I decided the only thing to do was to plant them in neat rows in the yard. My nan found it hilarious, but mom wasn't too happy. My female cousin and her female friend, I don't remember how old they were, but pretty young, had the amazing idea of playing doctor. Little did I know that this would include shoving nettles up each other's vagines. About 2 weeks ago, my wife was playing outside with our kids, boy 2, girl 1, and she ran inside to get them some water or something. When she came back outside, my son was totally naked in the middle of the driveway taking a shit. Another one I know is, my friend's little brother used to go through magazines and cut out all of the women's boobs from all the pages in a magazine and keep them in a plastic bag under his bed that was labeled in black magic marker the booby bag. Reply. This must be a little boy thing. When my brother was around 4 to 5 years old, he decided he was a bear. Being a bear, he went outside buck naked, wrapped only in a brown blanket, his fur, and proceeded to take a fairly large dump on the sidewalk in front of the neighbors. Now when he talks about how he is more intelligent than me, I say, at least I didn't think I was a bear and ship on the sidewalk. Shuts him up pretty quick. My parents sadly have shared it to me, as well as most of their friends. When I was a little kid and was being potty trained, I somehow got the idea that I would poop like my dog, so I would go out in the backyard and poop. My family was at our friend's birthday party at their house and I ended up pooping in their backyard, and their dog ate my shit after. Not a parent, but when my brother was younger, around 4 years old I think, he had his own poop and pee in Play-Doh containers under his bed. My mom found it when she was cleaning his room. He said he was practicing to be a doctor. When my son was young, maybe 3, he was in the backyard playing on this toy. I think it was a plastic horse that you rocked back and forth on. He suddenly stopped and got this weird look on his face and said, "Penis tickles." After a couple of seconds his face changed to alarm and he shouted, "Penis hurts." I imagine it was one of his first erections and he didn't know what was happening. My son, 5, asked me to get a particular film. It was an 80s film and it wasn't on Netflix, so I started to browse torrent sites to see if there was a copy of it. I click one of those fake download now buttons and a Ponro pop-up opens depicting a girl with her cheeks spread. I close it as fast as I can. "Daddy, was that a butthole? Can we see it again?" If you want to support our new channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. We would also love to read some feedback in the comments. Thank you very much. My wife and I have had a back massager. When my son was around 12, he left the dinner table to go to the bathroom. The ceiling started vibrating 10 minutes later. Our master bedroom was right above the dining room, so I went upstairs to check, only to see him humping the massager in a doggy-style fashion. Without seeing each other, I just went back downstairs and explained to our dinner guests that we've been having an electrical problem. My parents caught my 12-year-old brother with 3-gallon jugs filled with urine below his bathroom sink. When they asked him what it was for, he said, "So I can tell how much pee I can make." A few years later he got arrested for throwing human and dog feces mixed with human urine in balloons at cars. I had one of those life-size walking dolls when I was a kid. My mom was babysitting this little boy, he was maybe 4. He finds this doll, which is truly life-size for him, brings it out to the living room and started dancing with it. So cute. Then he dropped it to the ground and started humping it. I believe he may have seen a bit more than his parents thought he did. Reply. When my brother was in elementary school, he had a friend his age from down the street come over. I don't really know what happened, but apparently my mom walked into my brother's room and the kid was humping the bed or something. She made a big deal of it and called his mom to get him. She didn't let him come over again after that. He could have been doing something much worse for all I know, but I doubt it. Poor kid. That seemed like an overreaction to me even back then. I was friends with his older sister and she didn't talk to me for a few days after that. I'm not a parent, but the creepiest thing I ever discovered while babysitting was that this 7-year-old kid had a dead fly pile. He made a game out of catching flies with his bare hands, but unlike normal people who would just walk away from the scene of the crime, he decided to keep them as trophies or something. So in the bottom of his closet he had a little pile of dead flies no one else knew about. I didn't say anything. My 2 nieces were playing with some post-it notes at my mother's house. The younger one was writing little messages on them and sticking them on things. I love you, hello. Stuff like that. I walked past them just to hear the older quietly telling the younger one to write one to grandma, saying you're going to kill her. Not a parent, babysat 2 kids for my sister, the usual sitter. The little girl was eating and turns to me and says, we could fit Diva in the freezer. Diva was a Pomeranian. I replied, but that wouldn't be very nice. Finish your dinner and then you can have dessert. She started eating again and stopped mid-bite. We can fit Rocky in the microwave. Rocky is a smaller Pomeranian. Let's not. Freaked me out a little bit. Why did she want to put her dogs in the kitchen appliances? I'm late to this, but I wanted to share anyway. My older stepsister sleepwalked a lot. When I was around 8 or so, I remember waking up laying on my back because I felt something brushing my face. It was her hair. She was leaning over me with her mouth open a little, just staring at me. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever woken up to. I was so scared I just laid there staring back. Then she straightened back up and left the room. I started crying loudly and my dad found her peeing in the corner of the living room. That part was funny later. But it took a while before I'd sleep in the room with her again. My mom caught me jacking it to Stripperella and slowly backed out of the room. I caught her reflection in the TV, but she didn't know I saw her. She's never brought it up. Can't blame her. Not a parent, but a couple years ago I found something strange in my little brother's closet. He was around 8 at the time. You know those large Kool-Aid containers that store the powder? Well, he took an empty one from the recycling pile and filled it with a combination of tap water, acorns from our backyard, leaves, and I think even some bugs. When I found it, he opened it up after around 3 months, and it reeked like some serious mildew had formed. We dumped it and I found out he was trying to reincarnate one of the puppies my dog lost. Guess it didn't work. There was a girl I used to go to school with and she told me a story about her sister once. Her sister had an easy bake oven, and the family had some goldfish. One day, the sister decided to wake up extra early so she'd be able to make the family breakfast. Cute, right? Wrong. What she had planned for breakfast was goldfish a la easy bake. Her goldfish died under a light bulb. Rest in peace, goldfish. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.